In August 2021, attorney Citra Bankard saw a Facebook message on his board. He didn't know the sender, but clicked on their message anyway. Citra saw the sender had sent him a video. As he watched it, Citra's hands shook and his mind spun. On his screen, a group of Bangkok police tied plastic bags over a man's head as he cried and whimpered for mercy. Eventually, the man stopped crying out. When the police tried to save him, it was too late. The mysterious sender told Citra to share the video after he'd watched it. He did, and the video went viral. Many people were shocked at the sheer brutality, but more so by who they saw ordering the heinous acts. Chief Thitissen Thupanafon, also known as Joe Ferrari. Why was that his nickname? He's got 26 luxury cars, a mansion, and a famous wife. And he was the police chief from Thailand, someone who made roughly $1,700 per month. The interrogation occurred on August 4th, 2021. The sender was a junior police officer who somehow got a hold of the video. He sent it to Citra, hoping he'd bring its contents to court, as well as show the public how corrupt their police are. Citra acted quickly. He took action against Joe and had him arrested. However, despite being in handcuffs, some strange things started happening after Joe's initial detainment. Shortly after being arrested, Joe held a press conference of sorts. His main motive was to convey a message that he was innocent to the people of Thailand. For days, Thailanders had seen the police chief's face on their TV and phone screens. Next to him were headlines painting a very negative picture. Joe tried to change those impressions by telling everyone he did not mean to hurt the man, and he was only trying to get information. One thing the speech could not properly explain, however, were the headlines describing Joe's wealth, cars, and mansion. It left people wondering where on earth it all came from. The truth was almost as bizarre as the video. Joe got his first taste of wealth when he married a rich girl from Thailand. By all accounts, Joe came from an ordinary family with a regular amount of money. There's no doubt the sudden exposure to lavish wealth affected the young man. In 2003, Joe graduated from the police academy, climbing his way up the ladder until he landed the chief job. During this climb, he married another well-off woman, a Thai actress. Then, after she didn't work out, he married another Thai actress, a well-known TV presenter whose father is a senior police officer in Thailand. On the surface, Joe seemed like a respectable police chief who happened to be in with the celebrity crowd. But also on Joe's surface, protruding out like a luxurious pimple, was his car collection. And the reason, he's nicknamed after an Italian automaker. If you were lucky enough to know Joe before he was arrested, you probably saw his car collection. Joe had a Ferrari, of course, but that wasn't the highlight of his garage. He had a rare Lamborghini Aventador, 4 Porsches, 3 Audis, and 6 Mercedes-Benz. To add an elegant touch, Joe also had a Bentley. Even though he was married to a successful actress, a car collection like that seems suspicious. His Lambo cost 6 figures alone. So how did Joe accumulate all this money? The police system is different in Thailand. They have something called the finder's fee that allows certain officers to take a cut from discovering and turning in stolen cars. It works like this. An officer will turn a car over to the government, who, after a trip through the court system, puts the vehicles up for public auction. For whatever price these cars sell for, the officer who turned the car in gets a 25% cut. Informants get 30%. Which means if Joe turned over a confiscated Ferrari and that Ferrari sold at auction for $200,000, Joe would pocket $50,000. However, recent laws have lowered those payouts to 20% each to officers and informants. Still, the finder's fee can double, triple, or quadruple an officer's salary if they're lucky enough. The reason officers earned a quarter of the auction sale was partly because of the informants. The people smuggling these cars could be very dangerous. Many of them worked for millionaires and billionaires, helping them save thousands in taxes by smuggling their expensive 4-wheel purchases into Thailand. They paid good money, meaning the security was willing to do whatever it took to get the cars from point A to point B. The Thai government offered the finder's fee to incentivize cops like Joe to risk their lives to stop them. Overall, authorities estimate that Joe confiscated 410 cars and cashed in on 405 of them, earning the police chief around $24 million. These numbers puzzled investigators on multiple levels. The first level being, how did Joe manage to confiscate that many cars? After tracing the car's collective history, investigators determined that many were stolen before being collected by Joe and his officers. With this new information, investigators believe Joe may have been involved in the smuggling himself or worked with smugglers. The numbers corroborate their theory. Of the first 270 cars confiscated, 101 were reported stolen before their seizure by police, and 169 more cars were reported stolen after being seized. Many of these cars were smuggled into Thailand from nearby Singapore and Malaysia. Given the close proximity, the likelihood of an international scam is pretty good. Some investigators even believe the buyers, the people at auction, were stealing the cars, having them smuggled into Bangkok, seized by police, then bought at auction for a lower price. While this scheme may seem like the sole source of Joe's mysterious wealth, investigators in Thailand think there may be more to the mystery than just car smuggling. When added up, authorities don't think the car scheme is enough to account for all of Joe's lavish spending. They think he was receiving money from another source. During his press conference, Joe claims he was trying to get information when he hurt the man who eventually passed away. So, what kind of information was he looking for? Aside from his success in the stolen car business, Joe is also known for his tough stance on illicit drugs. When trying to explain why he engaged the man so viciously, Joe says he did so to extract essential information from a drug dealer. A few Bangkok officers paid a visit to the dealer's house, posing as customers. The 24-year-old dealer and his wife tried to sell the undercover cops drugs, resulting in their immediate arrest and detainment. Then they questioned the young man. Joe said he wanted to find out who his supplier was or if he was supplying other dealers. While those sound like good intentions, many investigators have serious doubts about Joe's claims. Given the excessive force Joe put into the interrogation, some say the ex-chief asked for more than mere information. Instead, they believe Joe was trying to shake the dealer for a bribe. To most of us, corrupt officials attempting to commit bribery comes off as scandalous. But for the people of Thailand, it's a cliche image. They often experience, sometimes personally, low-level officers trying to use their position to get rich quickly. This kind of corruption occurs so often that, according to Paul Chambers, an expert from the Center of Asian Community Studies at Narusian University, police have become a significant component of the Thai political power structure. According to Chambers, the police act like a mafia-type organization. And, much like Henry Hill and Martin Scorsese's gangster classic, many young men in Thailand dream of being a Thai police officer. Through extortion, even a low-ranking officer can make more money than their annual salary paid to them by the state. How exactly? By arresting members of the vast drug industry and giving them a simple but gracious ultimatum. Go to jail or pay me and I'll let you go. And since many dealers carry around cash or know someone who has access to it, the latter is often an easier choice to make. Since most of those bribes are made in cash, calculating the payments is difficult for investigators. So, we may never know how much bribe money Joe collected over his career. The official leading the inquiry into the 6 officers, National Police Commissioner General Suat Jangyodasuk, promised to speed the process up and get a conviction as soon as possible. So far, they've been charged with coercion and abuse of authority. The most severe charge came from what happened in the viral video. Among them are many malfeasance-related charges, which means wrongdoing by a public official. Joe and his officers are also accused of covering up the incident. On the initial report for the drug dealer, which has since been corrected, his cause of passing was possible toxicity of amphetamine. And to make matters worse for Joe, he reportedly went on the run when the video was released. If these charges hold up, the 6 officers, including Joe, could be facing capital punishment under Thai law. The people in Thailand who watched the video were horrified, similar to America's reaction to the George Floyd footage. These days, at the top level of a multi-level parking garage in Bangkok are several Lamborghinis, Porsches, McLarens, Bentleys, and BMWs that Joe supposedly confiscated. These vehicles will eventually be sold at auction, but Joe won't receive his cut. Ironically enough, there actually aren't any Ferraris. They sit there in the dark, wearing a coat of dust. Their tires are flat, and they're soaking in a shallow pool of soupy rainwater. Perhaps these seemingly forgotten cars are the last remnants of a decade-long scam that would still be unknown if not for a viral video. As his gang of officers is investigated in the coming years, Joe's secrets will be revealed, whatever they may be. It's only a matter of time. Click here to watch one of these next videos. And let us know in the comments section what you think Joe Ferrari should have done to not get caught.